Good evening and welcome to the 2020 Advance Awards. My name's Holly Ransom and it is my pleasure to be your Master of Ceremonies for this evening's celebrations. Can I start by thanking Lynn Williams and the Gondwana Choir? What better way could we possibly have to open a night celebrating the contributions and the wonderful work of Australians right across the world than with such a beautiful performance? I don't know about you, but when I watch Aussies step out of their comfort zone and drive change right around the world with their talent, ambition and drive, it makes me swell with pride and at the same time creates this enormous sense of urgency within me. With the world upended right now, our 37 finalists and our 13 award winners, who you'll meet over the course of tonight, are making such a significant and important contribution to shaking up the world for the better. They're reminding us what happens when you mix ingenuity with hope and with grit. Tonight's awards are a celebration of those Aussies who encapsulate the go-getter spirit, our anything is possible attitude, and that ingenuity and inventiveness that we are renowned the world over for. As an Aussie who's lived overseas, I can speak to the importance of the support and the acknowledgement I've felt from the Australian community at numerous points through that. And I must say that I think there's probably never been a more important time for that sense of support, connection and unity than there is in this very moment. So I'm so grateful for Advance and the role that they play in connecting, championing and celebrating Aussies, both the 1 million of us who are living overseas and the more than 300,000 of us who've lived overseas at some point and then brought that experience back home. Tonight, we hope to catalyse all of you watching, young, old and everyone in between, around the incredibly important and significant role that Australians are playing in shaping the future of industries, in driving visionary change and in being champions of a new vanguard of ideas and courage. We hope to capture the feeling that our economy, our society and our country are all the better for every Australian who is courageous enough to identify as a global citizen. So on behalf of all of us and on behalf of future generations, thank you all for joining us to celebrate the idea that we are all born global. Before we get underway tonight, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Auntie Millie Ingram to deliver our Welcome to Country. Auntie Millie is a proud Wiradjuri woman raised in central New South Wales who's worked in Indigenous affairs all of her life. She was awarded a Bicentenary Medal by our former Prime Minister John Howard and was a finalist for the 2010 Woman of the Year. Can we please welcome Auntie Millie?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Australians. It is my pleasure to be here to give you a warm welcome to your Advance Awards ceremony. It doesn't matter whether you're home here in Australia or you're overseas. I want to welcome you to the land of the Gadigal people, one of the 29 clans of Sydney. It is so important that we work together in this pandemic and any other time, and those who do us proud by doing great work, whether they're here or overseas, is important. We need to make Australia a really good place for our future generations. Our Aboriginal people have been here for over 50,000 years, and we must leave a good Australia for our future generations. Let's make this the best country that we can, and we can do that by working together and treating everybody with respect and treating them equally. I hope you have a wonderful awards night. I take this opportunity to congratulate all the people who have participated and those winners. May you go on to bigger and better things, and may you and your family always walk in safety whilst you are on Aboriginal land in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Auntie Millie for that beautiful welcome to country. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the Chairman of Advance, Yasmin Allen. Yasmin is a director on a number of boards, including the ASX, Cochlear and Santos, and was most recently appointed the chairman of the Australian Government's Digital Skills Organisation pilot. Please welcome Yasmin.
I'm very excited to welcome you to our 9th Advance Global Australian of the Year Awards. My name is Yasmin Allen, and as Chairman of Advance, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all, award winners, partners of Advance, friends and guests from around the world. Thank you for being here online to help us celebrate Australians on the global stage. It's a very different environment we find ourselves. Last year, we hosted 500 people in Sydney to celebrate our Advance Award winners. This year, we're sitting at home watching and participating online. Somehow, this is not all bad news. Advance is global. We're celebrating global Australians. So in this new online way of working, actually suits us. And I warmly welcome you all, wherever you are, right around the world. Thank you, Auntie Millie Ingram, and I too acknowledge and pay my respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island elders, past, present and emerging. Tonight, you'll meet 13 extraordinary individuals and learn about their achievements offshore. They are a diverse and impressive cohort. Of the 1 million Australians working overseas, we estimate 300,000 have returned to Australia due to the pandemic. Along with the 2.5 million global alumni who came here for an education and left with Australia in their hearts, they are our diaspora. Advance is Australia's link to our diaspora. Whether it's through ideas, IP or people, we find pathways home. And we do this because we believe in Australia. We believe it is our people and talent who will cause Australia to thrive. It is enormously to Australia's advantage that we have a talented, energetic and highly successful diaspora. Advance is building out this global network, spanning 110 countries, connecting our diaspora and their thinking back home for the benefit of all Australians. Our endeavours have enjoyed consistent bipartisan government support. Prime Minister Scott Morrison is our patron, and I warmly acknowledge our partners from the Department of Industry and DFAT. We recognise extraordinary Australian talent, and we do this for a good reason. The economic potential of our diaspora is tremendous. They create new businesses, stimulate trade, and transfer knowledge and skills. In my view, innovation and talent will empower us and enable us to choose our economic destiny. And a vital component of this will be tapping into the knowledge of our expats. This year's winners are leaders in their fields of medical research, global finance, energy, the space sector, and nanotechnology. Our past Advance Award winners are called Global Game Changers. We now have a powerful network of 90 game changers around the world. Advance will work with these game changers for the benefit of Australia. We're the only organisation that does this, that seeks to build connections back home. Advance works with leading Australian companies who support our mission. And I thank our major partners, the Australian Government, Pratt Foundation, National Australia Bank, Atlassian and Stone & Chalk. I also acknowledge Gilbert and Tobin, KPMG, Macquarie Bank, IAG and others who have supported us over many years. These companies share our vision. We all believe in the power and ingenuity of our diaspora and that Australia's future will be enhanced through connecting and engaging with our most important natural resource, talent. So let's get on and celebrate our incredible international Australians and our alumni of Australian universities who together make up Australia's diaspora. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yasmin, for that warm welcome and for all the work that you do to champion Advance week in, week out. For those of you who are watching tonight, we would love you to be a part of the conversation and the celebration on social media. You can do so by using the handle @Advance or the hashtag AdvanceAwards2020. Please share with us photos of the finery that you've dolled yourself up in to watch from your living room tonight, or perhaps just to share your acknowledgement and celebration of the wonderful Aussies we'll be meeting over the course of our proceedings. Now, we look forward to hearing from the Prime Minister a little bit later on tonight. And as a COVID bonus, I should add that we're going to have an icon who's presenting each category of our awards. So with that little teaser, I feel like we should jump right into proceedings and let's kick off with our first award category, the arts. Now, the arts, each and every one of us, I think, knows has such an important role in our society and an important part of our cultural tapestry. Whether it's the grassroots community arts movements, highbrow taboo art, everything in between, artists are so often a critical catalyst for change and for important conversations in our society. This evening, our finalists in the arts category are Gary McQuinn, the Managing Director of Nullarbor Productions and RGM Productions based in London. Christopher Doyle, filmmaker and cinematographer working out of Hong Kong. And Christian Thompson AO, contemporary artist based in Sydney and Berlin. And to announce the award tonight, I would like to introduce you to a wonderful enabler of artistic impact and someone I personally have an enormous amount of respect for. I'm talking about Robbie Stanton, the Vice President of International TV Distribution at Warner Brothers TV. Welcome, Robbie.
I am standing on Gadigal land and super proud to be announcing the 2020 Advance Award for the Arts. This award recognises global Australians who are using their creative skills across art, design, architecture, fashion, film, literature, music, and many other forms of performing arts. These global Australians are creating thought-provoking and inspiring new works, and all have influential voices. It does feel like right now, in 2020, we recognise that the arts and our artists are so vital to society. Storytelling has never been more important. Our 2020 Advance Award for the Arts goes to Christopher Doyle, the amazing Hong Kong-based Australian filmmaker and member of the Hong Kong Society of Cinematographers.
Meet Christopher Doyle, winner of the Advance Arts Award in 2020. Christopher Doyle is an award-winning cinematographer. Works like Chungking Express and In the Mood for Love have been met with international critical acclaim and have found a firm footing in Chinese cinema and international cinema of the West. Unperturbed by the prescriptions of Hollywood, Doyle's power lies in his freedom for improvisation, sense of movement, and ability to think on his feet. Treating the frame as a space for discovery rather than a place for projection, Doyle is energised by the stories of Hong Kong and is also known by his Chinese identity, Du Ke Fang, meaning like the wind. His rare and enigmatic personality reveals to us that just as much creativity unfolds behind the camera as in front. Christopher Doyle wrote, shot and directed Warsaw Dark, Away with Words and Hong Kong Trilogy. A prolific creator, he has made more than 20 films in various languages and over 50 Chinese language films. Among Doyle's 60 awards are the Technical Grand Prix at the Cannes Film Festival for In the Mood for Love and the Pierre Ingenue Excellence in Cinematography Award in tribute to his successful and influential career.
So what do you say? They said I'm going to get a prize, really? Oh, thank you. And then I freaked out. I started to write like 15 different scenarios to explain my relationship with the world in which I mostly live. I've been 50 years away from Australia, and yet you can take the boy out of Oz, but you can't take Oz out of the boy. You know, I'm a Shire kid. I'm a surfer. and I always will be. And I think that is what we're celebrating tonight. I think that we're celebrating that no matter how far you go, where you came from is what makes you who you are. And I work in many different languages and different cultures, and I work with wonder and astonishment and engagement and total celebration of what we do together. But I know that I wouldn't be this way if I wasn't where I came from, and I'm very honored to be welcome home. Thank you.
Congratulations to the remarkable Christopher Doyle. What a phenomenal winner to kick off tonight's proceedings with. Our next category is commercial creatives, and this is a particularly rare breed of individual. Straddles 1 foot in the commercial landscape and 1 foot in the creative artistic world. So often they are inspiring companies of all sizes to step into a broader social responsibility and think about their impact, Or they're taking the artistic world and pulling it into innovative and new business models and ways of bringing their desired contribution to life. We have a phenomenal set of finalists in this category, and they are Jess Canuplia, the President of the Association of Film Commissioners International in Los Angeles. Tim Kentley-Clay, co-founder of Zoox and the director of XYZ Studios and Crayon, based in Melbourne. And Charles Coldis, the co-founder and former CEO of Merlin in London. And to present this category, it gives me enormous pleasure to introduce someone all of you will recognise as one of the leading lights of the Australian business sector and also the philanthropic landscape. Someone who I feel deeply fortunate to be able to call a mentor of mine. Carol Schwartz AO, Non-Executive Director of the Reserve Bank. Welcome, Carol.
Thanks so much, Holly, and welcome everyone to this fantastic evening of the Advance Global Awards. Now, I have the great honour of presenting the Advance Award for Commercial Creatives, which recognises global Australians who shape the delivery of creative endeavours, art and design, architecture, fashion, film, literature, music and other performing arts, with a focus on sustainable commercial outcomes, and in so doing, extend the audience reach and push the frontiers of innovation. Our 2020 Advanced Commercial Creatives Award goes to Tim Kentley-Clay, co-founder of Zoox and co-founder and director at XYZ Studios and Crayon. Tim is based in California in the US. Congratulations, Tim. Not easily categorised in one industry, Tim is hardwired to pioneer creative projects that live at the vanguard of invention. He leads teams with frontier technologies that sit at the intersection of art and science that can transform for the better our communities and our environment. Congratulations again, Tim.
Meet Tim Kentley-Clay, winner of the Advanced Commercial Creatives Award in 2020. Tim is a creative and technical entrepreneur. He describes himself as a painter, designer, animator, filmmaker, troublemaker, and thinker. Tim has demonstrated his versatility, vision, and commercial acumen, having founded and grown 4 successful businesses: Zoox, XYZ Studios, Crayon, and now Hyper. Tim is hardwired to expand what is possible, reimagining product experiences at the intersection of art and science. He takes a hands-on approach to leading teams in frontier technologies, forever inventing solutions that will benefit our communities and environment. As the co-founder of Zoox, Tim built the autonomous mobility startup from the ground up. Zoox was sold to Amazon in June this year. While CEO of Zoox, Tim sat on the US Department of Transportation's Advisory Committee on Automation in Transportation and was invited to testify to the Senate Commerce Committee on Autonomous Mobility Policy. Tim has personally received over 50 awards for his work, including the board's Motion Designer of the Year, Phoenix Awards Best New Director, and London International Best Direction and Best Animation. Today, Tim leads XYZ Studios, specialising in commercial animation, Crayon, a self-contained post-production studio, and his latest venture, Hyper.
I don't know who nominated me for the award of Creative Commercial. You're not in my good books, but having been fortunate enough to receive it, I guess I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank the award organization for this recognition. It's very humbling. I've long believed that what I do is functional sculpture. It's art and engineering mixed together to lead to new ways of exploring what's possible. What I've achieved wouldn't be possible without a very diverse group of people behind me. So this one's for them, and humbled to be recognized, and thank you very much.
Congratulations to Tim Kentley-Clay. I think functional sculpture might be my favourite new phrase for this evening. I think it's wonderful, that idea of fusing arts and engineering to make new things possible. Congratulations. Our next category of the awards is financial services, and this is such an interesting category to be looking at innovators and game changers in. This landscape has undergone some seismic shifts over the course of the last decade, and I think it's pretty safe to say it's not slowing anytime soon. Leading innovators in this sector are looking at new ways to apply cutting-edge technology to transform the customer experience. Talking things like AI, blockchain technology, all sorts of cloud solutions, you name it, they're having a go with it. And our category finalists tonight are great examples of that. It's worth also pointing out that it's not just innovating from the banking side, it's also innovation from the regulation side that's changing the game within this category. Allow me to introduce our finalists. First up, Paul Chapman, CEO and co-founder of Moneytree in Tokyo. Jennifer Nason, Global Chairman of Investment Banking at JP Morgan in New York. And Shoying Tang, CEO and co-founder at Beacon Fund and partner at Patama Capital in Vietnam. And to introduce or to award our finalist, our lucky recipient this evening, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Senator the Honourable Jane Hume, Minister for Superannuation, Finance and Financial Technology. Welcome, Senator.
Hello, I'm Jane Hume, and it's great to be joining you here at Parliament House in Canberra. The Advance Award for Financial Services recognises global Australians looking at new ways to tackle the big issues in the financial sector and making a real impact through their work. This year's winner is an inspiring role model for women in finance, and she's dedicated her career to advancing opportunities in the sector. She's not just an influential figure on Wall Street, but also the first female chair of the American Australian Association and a philanthropist who's passionate about education. And even better, she's a fellow alumna of the University of Melbourne. I'm delighted to present the 2020 Advance Award for Financial Services to Jennifer Nason, Global Chairman of Investment Banking at JP Morgan in New York.
Meet Jennifer Nason, winner of the Advance Financial Services Award in 2020. Jennifer Nason is considered one of Australia's most successful global business leaders and one of the most senior and influential women on Wall Street. She attributes her career trajectory to a willingness to live outside her comfort zone, a love of constant learning and calculated risk. As the Global Chair, Investment Banking at JP Morgan, Jennifer takes a genuine and innovative approach to leadership in a competitive industry. A leading advocate for gender equality, Jennifer believes being a working mother to 4 children gave her an advantage career-wise and is dedicated to advancing opportunities for women in the traditionally male-dominated sector. She encourages the promotion of education through her own personal philanthropy and support of alumni programs. Jennifer Nason's exemplary work includes credit as an advisor on many high-profile transactions. She's been with JP Morgan for nearly 34 years, having joined the Melbourne, Australia office in 1986. Over the span of her career at the firm, she has worked in the project finance and mergers and acquisition groups focused on the natural resources sector, the retail investment banking client coverage team as group head, and for the last 17 years led the technology, media and telecommunications global client practice. She also co-founded and chaired the Investment Banking Women's Network at JP Morgan in the mid-1990s.
Hello, fellow Australians around the world and, of course, back home. I hope you are all staying safe and well in these extraordinary times. I'm thrilled to receive the Advance Award for Financial Services, and thank you to Senator Hume for the kind words, and thank you to the whole team at Advance for this great honour and for their great partnership. I left Melbourne in 1987 for New York City and a career at JP Morgan in investment banking. My main priority at the time was to see the world. 30 plus years later, I'm still here in New York City and at JP Morgan, and I feel every bit as Australian as I did when I left. I certainly sound the same. Throughout my career, I've had the tremendous privilege of working for a great company, of dealing with all types of corporate clients from around the world, and of working with great people. It's been endlessly interesting. I often reflect on how all this was possible for me, a girl from country South Australia. I was fortunate to come from a family that believed that education was everything. And I got a first-class education in Australia, including at the University of Melbourne, one of the world's great universities. My involvement with the American Australian Association and Advance is just one of the ways I try to give back, and there is more that I can do. I would also like to thank my 4 wonderful children, Caroline, Thomas, Eleanor, and Sarah. Living in New York City, juggling a career on Wall Street with 4 children has not always been easy on them or me. But my kids have always kept me grounded, and they have made me the world's most efficient operator. Any success I've had, including receiving this award, is in no small part the result of their love and support. We've also done more trips to Australia together over the years than I can count. Finally, I would like to reinforce the message that financial services is an important industry that offers rewarding career options, but we still don't have the female representation that we should as an industry. Let's all do more to advance the opportunities for Australian women who want to pursue careers in finance, both at home and abroad. Thank you again for this wonderful award.
Congratulations to Jennifer Nason, a great example of someone combining a power career with phenomenal down-to-earth accessibility and support for young women. I feel like with more people like Jennifer running companies, the world will be made better for each and every one of us. And I also love meeting an Australian who still has their Aussie accent after 30 years in New York. Well done, Jennifer. Our next category of awards is the life sciences. And while Australia might be known for its mining sector, it should also be known for its leadership in the biosector. Our leaders in this category are pioneering new fields of research and importantly are also doing the critical work to commercialise that research, ensuring that ingenuity and those ideas get the scale and impact they so richly deserve. Our finalists in this category are Professor Jill Banfield, a Professor of Earth Sciences, Ecosystem Science and Materials and Engineering at the University of California, Berkeley. Dr. Sandra Di Meo, CEO of the Victorian Health Promotion Foundation, known to many as Vic Health in Melbourne. Professor David Hunter, a Professor of Epidemiology and Medicine at the University of Oxford. And Dr. John McHutchinson, AO, CEO and President at Assembly Bio in San Francisco. To present this award winner with their category acknowledgement, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Distinguished Professor, Dr. Karen Day.
The Advance Award for Life Sciences recognises those global Australians who are trailblazers, dedicated to improving health and wellbeing outcomes and our understanding of living organisms. It is my pleasure to announce that our 2020 Advanced Life Sciences Award goes to Professor Jill Banfield from the University of California, Berkeley. Jill is an earth scientist who studies microbial communities in natural environments and in the human microbiome. Her groundbreaking research on microbial diversity is a key to understanding human health and disease, as well as our sustainability on this planet. Jill is a brilliant and distinguished scientist, recognised by the American Academy of Sciences, the Royal Society, and the Australian Academy of Science. She is a wise and generous mentor who has trained many of the up-and-coming stars of her field, including junior Australian scientists. My heartfelt congratulations go to you, Jill.
Meet Professor Jill Banfield, winner of the Advanced Life Sciences Award 2020. A mineralogist turned microbiologist, Jill Banfield has made outstanding contributions to our knowledge of the structure of microbial communities in natural environments and the human body. Her pioneering work created the platform to explore the role of gut bacteria in health and disease in humans. Her contributions to geosciences are also significant, culminating with her recognition by the American Academy of Sciences, the Royal Society, and Australian Academy of Science. In addition to being a brilliant and distinguished scientist, Jill is a wise and generous mentor. She's trained many of the up-and-coming stars of her field and has strongly supported their career advancement. Born in Armidale, Jill Banfield was educated at the Australian National University, where she completed her bachelor's and master's degrees before gaining a PhD in Earth and Planetary Sciences from Johns Hopkins University. Jill was a faculty member between 1990 and 2001 at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and University of Tokyo. Since 2001, she's been a researcher and professor at the University of California, Berkeley, with an appointment in the Earth and Environmental Sciences at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. Jill leads the Microbial Research Initiative within the Innovative Genomics Institute, is affiliated with Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, and has a position at the University of Melbourne, Australia.
Thank you, Karen, for nominating me. To everyone that supported my nomination, and to the Advance organisation for recognising the accomplishments of Australians internationally. Given that I was born in Armidale, New South Wales, and obtained 2 of my degrees from the Australian National University, it means a great deal to me that the Advance organisation has chosen to recognise work mostly carried out in the USA to an Australian audience. In the short time I have today, I want to share a few thoughts that were stimulated by this historic week in science. A few days ago, my colleague and collaborator, Jennifer Doudna, was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, along with Emmanuelle Charpentier. This was the first time an award was made to 2 women, and the first time a woman has won a Nobel Prize at UC Berkeley. Their award was for the adaptation of the bacterial CRISPR-Cas immune system to enable genome editing, a technology that is now in use in almost all experimental biology labs in the world, and is being used to improve crops and treat genetic diseases in a once unimaginable way. Yesterday, a past PhD student sent me the agendas for the 5 annual CRISPR conferences we organized at UC Berkeley, including the first ever conference on the topic in 2008. The 5th, in 2012, includes a talk by Christoph Tyslinski and Martin Ginnick. 2 months later, their findings were published, and just 8 years later, earned the Nobel Prize for the scientists in whose labs the research was done. The timeline for this must surely strike everyone as extraordinary. Back in 2006, when my lab was studying how CRISPR-Cas mediates virus-host interaction dynamics that shape biochemical cycles, nobody dreamed that CRISPR would become a revolutionary technology. We were all motivated by basic science questions. This is a fantastic reminder that great breakthroughs in science often begin with fundamental, curiosity-driven research. So how did the science move forward so quickly? First, there were some of the most eminent biochemists in the world working on the problem, but I think there's something else that has not yet made it into the history books. At those conferences in Berkeley, at least initially, we had almost everyone in the world working on CRISPR, and everyone shared unpublished data and only partly formulated ideas and agreed that ideas and results would be safe. This week, I've heard from many people, and they all say much the same thing. Those meetings were catalytic. By working together, we accelerate scientific innovation. Thus, I feel it appropriate to conclude with my thanks to the extraordinary suite of collaborators over many years and across many fields, and most importantly, to current and past lab members.
Congratulations to Professor Jill Banfield. What wonderful acknowledgement. Lovely to hear a story of someone going all the way from Armidale to UC Berkeley and to making the extraordinary impact that she has done. And wonderful for her to touch on the incredible acknowledgement that her colleagues received recently with that joint Nobel Prize going to 2 female scientists for the first time. How exciting. Our next category is one that is very near and dear to my heart, and to be honest, I have no idea how the judges in this category did it, because this is such a phenomenal group. It would have been a very challenging deliberation. I'm talking about the social impact category. We've all heard the line, the standard that you walk past is the standard you accept. Well, this group of finalists are a group of people who refuse to walk past it. And importantly, at a time where our world is so polarised and we're increasingly challenged by this extraordinary scale of some of the issues we've got to face and respond to as a global community, arguably social impact and social leadership has never been a more critical leadership skill than it is at this moment. The finalists in this category are Sophie Blackall, illustrator, artist and designer working out of New York. Andrew Hudson, the Executive Director and CEO at Crisis Action, also based in New York. Nicholas Wyman, the CEO and founder of the Institute for Workplace Skills and Innovation in Los Angeles. And Samar Hadid, the Head of Advocacy, Media and Communications for the Middle East at the Norwegian Refugee Council in Beirut. One leader who is redefining her industry with a mind to the impact that it has on workers in search of a more secure financial future is our icon presenting tonight's award in this category, Deanne Stewart, the CEO of Aware Super, formerly First State Super. Welcome, Deanne.
Well, thanks, Holly. The Advance Award for Social Impact recognises global Australians working in profit, not-for-profit and the public sector whose sustained actions improve society and make a positive impact on the lives of others. So our 2020 Advance Award for Social Impact goes to Nicholas Wyman. He is the CEO and founder of the Institute for Workplace Skills and Innovation in Los Angeles, California. Nick's purpose is to inspire others to think differently about workforce skills and training and encourage employers to give more young people a go and to break down the myths around careers that involve learning by doing. The impact of Nicholas's advocacy for and promotion of apprenticeships and vocational education are measured by the thousands of students in Australia and in the US that have been positively impacted by the work that he has done with policymakers and political leaders. Nick has the ability to truly inspire the next generation of leaders. Congratulations, Nick, on this award and for the amazing impact that you are having on education and on the next generation.
Meet Nicholas Wyman, winner of the Advance Social Impact Award for 2020. For the past 25 years, Nicholas Wyman has sought novel ways to connect youth with the jobs of the future. Nicholas believes the learn by doing approach has much to offer the world. In Australia and beyond, Nick has innovated market-driven solutions to address the long-term workforce issues faced by employers, education institutions and governments. He created the innovative New Recruits Job Skills program to bring disengaged young Australians back into the labour market. He co-founded the Skilling Australia Foundation, contracted by the Australian government to address chronic STEM skills shortages. In the United States, Nicholas developed the Kentucky Advanced Technical College, a collaborative education partnership between industry, educators and the community, assisting at-risk youth in the Appalachian region. The social impact of Nicholas's advocacy for and promotion of apprenticeships and vocational education are measured by the thousands of students in Australia and the United States who have been positively impacted by his work with policymakers and political leaders. Nicholas is an international subject matter expert and key advisor to the Urban Institute Centre on Labour, Human Services and Population in Washington, D.C. He also regularly briefs and advises the US Department of Labour, the House Committee on Workforce and the National Governors Association on workforce development issues.
To receive this acknowledgement from my fellow Australians is a fantastic and humbling honour, so thank you. To the Advance organisation, thank you for making tonight possible. To all the finalists, congratulations. It was inspiring to read about your ambitions and your achievements. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge my many collaborators. I believe in an old proverb, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think, as you all know, when seeking to make an impact and create meaningful change, you need collaborators. I've been fortunate to find plenty of willing and talented partners along the way. I work in vocational skills, and that's where I aim to create impact, by facilitating opportunities which will change the life trajectory of young people. My work takes me from places like Townsville, Nova Scotia, Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky. And no matter where I go, I'm always promoting careers where people can use their heads and use their hands. Advanced economies, Australia included, are suffering what's called the skills gap. People without jobs and jobs without people. We aim to enable individuals and industries to find each other. It can be difficult, but very rewarding when you get it right. When you meet a young person at a formative stage in their life, they decide to commit themselves to building a skilled career, and suddenly they have the confidence and the purpose, and they're on their way to fulfilling their full potential. And to the extent this award acknowledges my team's achievements, I'd like to think this acknowledges the potential and the possibility of the work we still have to do. Sadly, the coronavirus has placed too many people, through no fault of their own, at life and career crossroads. As we seek to return to normal, there's going to be much work to do to restore employment, dignity, and confidence, particularly to young people and women who've been disproportionately affected. I look forward to enlisting you and your organisations to support and help me tackle this task. Finally, I'd like to thank Fred Madden, my great friend and mentor. And lastly, my family. These guys sacrifice a lot to allow me to follow my passion. My son James, my daughter Alexandra, say hi, and my wife Prue. Guys, I love you all so much and cherish the fact that coronavirus has given me more time to be at home with you. Congratulations to everybody involved this evening.
Well done, Nicholas Wyman. What a phenomenal winner. And I think the importance of the work that you're doing, bridging the skills gap and the new working world, is absolutely critical, particularly given all the reports we're reading at the moment about how this pandemic has accelerated us even faster into that world of work and future of work than we were anticipating. Our next category is sustainability. Now, the very mention of this category divides a room, but as Sir David Attenborough has been telling us recently, it is a call that we desperately need to hear. A call that not only the planet needs us to hear, but certainly the future generations who will inherit it too. And it is certainly a call that each and every one of our finalists in this category has heard and has answered. Our finalists in the sustainability category are Professor Jenny Evans, a Professor of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science at Pennsylvania State University. Carolyn Anguli, Managing Partner at Green Towel LLC in New York. And Dr. Bart Kolodziejczyk, Chief Scientist at Fortescue Metals Group and Managing Director of Scientists in Residence, based in Perth. To present tonight's award, I am absolutely thrilled to introduce to you one of Australia's most outstanding STEM scientists of the past 40 years, and a leading scientist in the USA, across academia, across corporate enterprise and the defence sector. Professor Gregory J. McRae, Professor Emeritus, Department of Chemical Engineering at MIT, is our icon presenting this category. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you, Holly. The Advance Award for Sustainability recognises global Australians who have created, innovated, designed or delivered sustainability processes or programs. Their work is directed at making a positive contributions to both local and global communities, and in particular, working to help improve the future of our planet. There were 3 truly exceptional candidates for this award, and I would like to announce that our 2020 Advanced Sustainability Award goes to Dr. Bart Kolodziejczyk, the Chief Scientist at Fortescue Metals Group. Dr. Kolodziejczyk is internationally recognized for his pioneering work developing a wide range of innovative technologies for improving health, energy, climate, and sustainability. To give you just one example of his work, his work on conductive polymers offers a way to really lower the cost of solar panels. Bart is not only a first-rate scientist and entrepreneur, he is also very actively involved in outreach to the community to help others learn and share best sustainability practices. Bart, I would like to congratulate you on receiving the 2020 Advance Award for Sustainability. And I have to say, I was truly very pleased to see that a metals group is actively engaged in sustainability practice. And I think your contributions are going to help shape not only what goes on in Australia, but throughout the world. Again, congratulations.
Meet Dr. Bart Kolodziejczak, winner of the Advanced Sustainability Award in 2020. Dr. Bart Kolodziejczak is a nanoscientist and inventor intent on taking his brilliance beyond the lab. Bart is addressing health, energy and climate change issues by innovating new technologies. As Chief Technology Officer of H2SG Energy, he's developed an inexpensive and highly efficient device to produce hydrogen from solar energy and water, and is currently developing a number of hydrogen projects in China. And natural at the commercialisation of ideas, Bart has co-founded 3 tech startups and 3 not-for-profit organisations. His philanthropic work exposes students to STEM opportunities and enables participation in policy-making processes. One of the many activities Bart oversees as part of the Scientists in Residence organisation is he holds an annual Indigenous Sustainability Forum, where Indigenous Australians share sustainability practices and traditional knowledge with non-Indigenous Australians. Bart encourages DIY science by delivering hands-on activities to educate Australians in areas of sustainability, climate change and technology. He also believes scientists need to engage more with the community. Dr. Bart Kolodziejczak recently moved to Perth to become a hydrogen specialist and is now the Chief Scientist at Fortescue Metals Group. Through his broad technical expertise and extensive experience with science outreach, he has advised the UN, UNDP, UNESCO, G20, NATO, the OECD and EU on science, technology, innovation and policy. Bart holds a PhD in Materials Engineering from Monash University and a PhD in Microelectronics.
So I'm very surprised to receive Advance Australia Award in sustainability field. I guess this award is a reward for my hard work in last couple of years. I'm basically very active in renewable energy field, mainly hydrogen energy. I have also been involved in number of policy making schemes, specifically on nanotechnology and synthetic biology, where I basically advised United Nations, G20, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and many other international organizations on how to make policies to enable safe use and disposal of nanotechnology products and synthetic biology products. I have also co-founded a not-for-profit organization that enables other scientists to use their skill and basically advise policymakers, specifically in sustainability related areas. So this Advance Award in sustainability field is basically a massive reward for what I've been doing in the last couple of years. I'm very grateful and very thankful. Same time, I'm very surprised to receive it. It's a great privilege. I will definitely stay in touch with Advance Awards, and I will try to basically mentor others through your organization. Thank you.
Congratulations, Bart. I feel really inspired to know that you're working on creating that next generation fuel sources that will replace the ones that we're currently using. Our next category tonight is technology and science. And if there's any of these categories that innovation is front and centre of, it is absolutely this one, because it brings together research and the commerce necessary to solve not only challenges for Australia, but some of the world's biggest problems. The finalists in our science and technology category are Professor Brian Gaensler, Director of the Dunlap Institute for Astronomy and Astrophysics and co-chair for the Canadian Astronomy Long Range Plan 2020 out of Toronto. Dr. Abigail Allwood, Research Scientist at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory overseeing the Mars 2020 rover mission at NASA in Los Angeles. Professor Daryl Williams, a Professor of Particle Science at the Imperial College in London and co-founder and Managing Director of Surface Management Systems. And Dr. David Pender, Vice President of Operations, Sage Glass at St. Gobain in Minnetonka. Can I just say, even reading some of the contributions that each of those finalists are making almost makes me stop and just take a breath for a moment. What an incredible group of finalists we have in this category. And we have a phenomenal Australian to present it. It seems only fitting that this prize be awarded by one of our most celebrated global leaders. And I'm talking about the Chairman of Tesla, Robyn Denham.
Thank you, Holly. It's my honour to present the Advance Award for Science and Technology, which recognises global Australians who harness their research expertise and experience to drive innovation, solve problems, and create new markets that propel the frontiers of science. Our 2020 Advance Award for Science and Technology goes to Dr. Abigail Allwood, Research Scientist at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory for the Mars 2020 rover mission for NASA in California.
Meet Dr. Abigail Allwood, winner of the Advanced Technology and Science Award in 2020. Dr. Abigail Allwood is at the cutting edge of space exploration. She is one of only 7 principal investigators developing innovative instruments to accompany the Mars 2020 rover expedition. Not only is she the first Australian, but also the first woman scientific lead on a Mars mission. During Abigail's exceptional career, she has authored countless articles, is a visiting scholar at California Institute of Technology, and acts as an editorial board member and review scientist for some of the world's leading space agencies. Perhaps most importantly, Abigail is a passionate advocate for science education and believes that Australia needs to invest more in STEM education and opportunities if we're to curtail the brain drain of our brightest minds and talents. Dr. Abigail Allwood is well recognised as a world-leading field geologist, astrobiologist and research scientist with NASA's prestigious Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Her focus is the planetary instrument for X-ray lithochemistry, known as PIXL, which will examine rock chemistry as part of the Mars 2020 rover expedition. PIXL is considered one of the most advanced instruments NASA has flown to the surface of another planet and is the first instrument to have AI. Earlier in her career, Abigail was responsible for groundbreaking work proving billion-year-old rock formations in Australia's Pilbara region, which was featured on the cover of the journal Nature. Named as one of Australia's brightest minds by Cosmos magazine in 2006, she holds a Bachelor of Applied Science in Geoscience from the Queensland University of Technology and a PhD from Macquarie University.
My name is Josephine Linden, and I am the Advance Ambassador Emeritus for the United States. Due to circumstances beyond her control, unfortunately, Abigail Allwood is unable to join us this evening. So I am here to accept the award for technology and science on behalf of Abigail. I want to begin by recognizing the extraordinary group of finalists that were selected by the judging panel alongside Abigail. Professor Brian Gaensler, Professor Daryl Williams, and Dr. David Pender. Each of them a recognized leader in their field. And I would like to acknowledge Abigail's colleagues. The work they do is groundbreaking, confounding, and the stuff of novels. It takes people with imagination, deep intellectual capacity, curiosity, and foresight to solve the problems that they have encountered in their quest. And finally, to Abigail. Had she been here, she would feel humbled and gratified for the recognition of her achievements by her country, and be chuffed that the award was being presented by no less than the chairman of Tesla. She would want to see other young Australians inspired by her story, and I want to share words that she has uttered as encouragement. I think every step along the way, I broke the rules of what you are supposed to do to get where you want to be, she has said. They say, set your sights on what you want to get and work really hard. There was no way I could ever have envisaged I would have ended up working at NASA, and once I did that, no way I would have ended up as a principal investigator. Pivotal in Abigail's career was the decision to go from undergraduate degree in geoscience to a PhD at Macquarie University. It was a tough call for her because that meant giving up a pretty reasonable job in the oil industry at Woodside. I had no job prospects at all. I could just as well have ended up as a taxi driver, I think, she says, tongue firmly in her cheek. I had always loved space, but by the time I got to that point in my life, I had pretty much given up on it. It was not really a realistic thing for a woman growing up in Australia at that time. And finally, Abigail would want to thank Advance for this honour.
Congratulations to the phenomenal Dr. Abigail Allwood. It is just extraordinary to hear about what you are working on. I'm speechless. And I think it's so wonderful that boys and girls growing up across Australia have you as a role model of what's possible and what they can think about doing over the course of their careers and in their lifetime. Now we're going to give you an opportunity to replenish your cuppa or your wine or whatever your beverage of preference might be for this evening's awards. Chat with your loved ones, talk about the people you've met already, the highlights of the program. Maybe send us a tweet or an Instagram or something like that as well. Join in the conversation. And we're going to take a 15-minute break to enjoy some wonderful music from Gondwana Choir. We'll be back with you shortly and kick into the pinnacle part of the program. See you soon. Well, welcome back. I hope you took a well-earned opportunity to top up your beverages and enjoy the beautiful music of the Gondwana Choir. Chat with your loved ones about some of the people that we've met over the course of proceedings. We're now recharged and ready to go for the second half of our awards. And before we get underway, I'd like to welcome a short message from our Ambassador to the United States, the Honourable Arthur Sinodinos.
Hello, everybody. I always, every year, have looked forward to the Advance Gala Awards. It's a highlight of my year. I sit in the room with all sorts of very impressive Australians and expatriate Australians, and then we beam in from around the world all these very important people, Australians, our best and brightest, who are out there conquering all sorts of fields in science, in innovation, in business, in philanthropy. So again this year we have that opportunity to celebrate those best and brightest of our fellow Australians who've been intrepid enough and have had the gumption to go abroad and to conquer all these amazing fields. Congratulations to all the finalists. It's an honour not just to win, but to be a finalist. So I'm really happy to be part of this occasion, and congratulations to Advance for going still after 2 decades. I'm particularly gratified about the number of winners from the US. As Ambassador for Australia in the United States, I'm proud of the relationship between our two countries, a relationship that's been forged in war and in peace. And while we often talk about mateship in the context of having fought together in various wars of the 20th century, we're taking the relationship to a new level as we think about how we cooperate in science, in innovation, in working together for a better world based on common values. Congratulations to those winners who've come out of the US. In particular, my good friend Jennifer Nason. What a wonderful role model, a woman who's made it to the top of global investment banking. What a great role model for young women everywhere, that they can make it in this tough and most macho of fields. And to all the other winners from the US who are scaling the heights of NASA, who are scaling the heights of creativity. Every one of you tonight, an opportunity with your friends and families to savour your success and the recognition of your fellow Australians. A grateful nation thanks you. Nothing is more important than recognising the entrepreneurs in our midst. As we face the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, we must laud people who are prepared to take risks, to think laterally, to see patterns where we don't see those patterns, to bring different people and networks and operations together to create new fields of endeavour, new products, new services. This creativity, which is the essence of entrepreneurship, is something we must laud and cultivate going forward. There's so much to do. Our entrepreneurs are central to that. Congratulations, Advance, this year for recognising so many entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Sinodinos, not just for your message, but for the wonderful work that you do championing and supporting Aussies in the United States. Our next category is one of the pinnacle awards, the Alumni Award. It's an interesting paradox of the world that we live in. We're hyper-connected in a lot of senses, but that's often coupled with an increasing sense of isolation. Well, not so for the finalists in this category, who've been phenomenal champions of building supportive, encouraging communities to champion individual and collective causes. The finalists in the alumni category are Pramesh Chandran, CEO and co-founder of Malaysia Kini and Asia Mobility in Kuala Lumpur. Nukla Avanti, Executive Director of Rights, Asia Women Working Group and AM Collaborators in Jakarta. And Dr. Vandana Joshi, Nutrition Manager for UNICEF in South Sudan. To present the winner, I am elated to welcome one of my favourite foreign correspondents, all-round truth seeker, critical thinker and social commentator, Zoe Daniel, the former chief of the US Bureau for the ABC.
Thank you so much, Holly, and thank you to all the finalists for the 2020 Alumni Award. The Advance Award for Alumni recognises graduates of Australian universities who are neither resident in Australia nor Australian citizens and have leveraged their Australian education to achieve success and impact in their chosen field. Our 2020 Advance Alumni Award goes to Pramesh Chandran from Malaysia, Chief Executive and co-founder of Malaysia Kini and Asia Mobility. As an important advocate for free speech in Malaysia and a disruptor of the media landscape, Pramesh has helped mobilise voices against corruption and misuse of power. He has demonstrated success in multiple fields, with his Australian education playing a formative role in his life. In a country where traditional print and broadcast media was strictly regulated and controlled by the government, Pramesh is a maverick, having co-founded MalaysiaKini.com with the vision of reporting news without censorship or influence. Malaysia's top independent news website now reaches millions of people. The site has informed a generation of voters who in turn brought about a democratic change in federal government in May 2018, the first since independence. Pramesh has grown journalism, establishing training courses for hundreds of citizen journalists. His passion for social entrepreneurship sees him speaking internationally and coaching extensively, helping others to have a positive impact on society via tech startups and social enterprises. The website and Pramesh have been touted by industry experts and academics as integral facilitators of change. Pramesh became a social activist as an undergrad studying physics in Australia in the late 80s, when students were at the forefront of protests for democracy, with the Tiananmen Square massacre, students challenging Suharto in Indonesia, and protests against the Marcos regime in the Philippines. Everywhere in Asia, young people were changing the political shape of the continent. When Pramesh came back to Australia in 1995 to pursue a Master of International Studies at the University of Sydney, he was prompted to move towards pursuing journalism in Malaysia. He has demonstrated success as a social pioneer and as an entrepreneur, with Malaysia Kini being financially sustainable since 2008 and developing an online training academy to deliver courses to make students future-ready and work-ready. Pramesh is continuing to apply his entrepreneur expertise and vision as the chief executive of a transit tech startup. Congratulations.
Meet Pramesh Chandran, winner of the Advance Alumni Award in 2020. As an important proponent of free speech in Malaysia, Pramesh Chandran is a disruptor of the media landscape. Pramesh has historically been a strong believer in the power of citizen journalism, having established training courses that gave rise to over 400 citizen journalists. He has championed liberation, creating space for voices against corruption and government abuses. As the co-founder and CEO of MalaysiaKini.com, Pramesh delivered Malaysia's top independent news website to over 8 million people. The site played a key role in forming voters and leading to Malaysia's democratic change in federal government in May 2018. In 2020, Pramesh was appointed head of the Pro Tem Committee for the Malaysia Media Council. He sits on the International Advisory Board of the United Nations University International Institute for Global Health. He's a 2019 TED Senior Fellow, a recipient of Asia Foundation's Chang Ling Tan Fellowship in 2010, and was the Media Personality of the Year in 2012. Pramesh also established the Kini Academy as part of the Malaysia Kini Group to create and deliver practical media innovation courses. As chairperson of the Board of Directors of Asia Mobility, today Pramesh is involved in transit tech products to promote sustainable policies supporting the viability of public transport systems.
Hello Australia, a big thank you for the Advance Alumni Award 2020. I'm really humbled to be recognized for my professional achievements, being a disruptor in the media landscape and social enterprise, and having graduated from an Australian university. My parents migrated to Australia in the late 80s, and I followed later, completing a degree in physics from UNSW and later a master's in international studies from the University of Sydney. My experience on campus shaped my perspective. Australian campuses brought together students from all over Asia and the world, and learning about their experience in fighting for democracy and justice helped shape my worldviews, not just about my own country, Malaysia, but on the need to grow the seeds of democracy in every country. Besides studying physics, we also had to do general studies, and I enjoyed getting a taste of philosophy, economics, human rights, and others. Jose Ramos Horta, the former president of East Timor, used to teach at UNSW, and we learned a lot about their struggle. We also lost a dear friend, Kamal Bamaraj, in the Dili massacre in Timor. I also helped out with the student newspaper Tarunka, and we campaigned with overseas students as well as part of a student organization called the Network of Overseas Students Collectives in Australia, NOSCA. As an undergraduate, I managed to raise funds from student unions and generous trade unions to attend the World Youth Summit in Costa Rica. From there, I was among 10 youth delegates to the 1992 Earth Summit in Brazil, where as young people we campaigned hard for a sustainable future. We spoke about the destruction of our ecosystems and about climate change, all nearly 30 years ago. During my master's at Sydney Uni, not only did we have excellent lectures on international relations and political economy, I also saw the early beginnings of the internet. And you suddenly had access to the world of information at your fingertips. The Australian student experience mattered, not just in the classroom, but what it taught us outside, and the international connections it helped us make, to see beyond our boundaries to the world at large. And I think that global mindset is what we need today. We cannot afford to think with narrowly defined national interests. The problems we have today cannot be solved by one nation. We cannot expect to grow and prosper while others suffer. While COVID-19 has created a global emergency, and so many lives have been lost and disrupted, it should also give us time to pause and reflect. If we can survive such a major disruption to our lives, perhaps we can also afford to make even deeper changes, to address climate change, to address inequality, and take a real stand for justice and accountability everywhere. No more lip service. I co-founded Malaysia Kini with Stephen Gunn, who was part of the same student movement in Australia. We genuinely believe that access to free and independent press would change our country, and indeed it has. The online media, not just Malaysia Kini, played a key role in throwing out a kleptocratic regime in 2018, creating the first change of government in Malaysia since the independence. It took us nearly 20 years of publishing to get there, but it was worth it. On election night, other media held back, whereas Malaysia Kini bravely reported the results, becoming the first media to announce a political change in the wee hours of the morning. And indeed, it was a new dawn for Malaysia. As we come to terms with the pandemic, we need a new dawn for the world. We need new thinking, new paradigms, new alliances. 30 years ago, Australia helped me with new ideas, build new paradigms, make new friends and allies that have lasted me a generation. I sincerely hope that Australia as a great nation will continue on that path. The world needs it more than ever. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Pramesh Chandran. What phenomenal work at a time where, the polarisation and this world of fake news so desperately needs quality journalism. It's phenomenal to see you taking up the charge in that fight. Thank you and congratulations. It gives me great pleasure now to introduce a new award category this year, and that is the category of the Emerging Leader. As we think about how we reshape economies and societies, we want to make sure that we hear the voices of the young. We want to unlock their enterprise. We want to tap into their energy. They bring a valuable perspective and often a bold level of courage that we could all do with a good boost of every now and again. And our finalists in this category are phenomenal examples of how we should have great faith in the next generation that will pick up the torch and run forward. Allow me to introduce you to our finalists in the Emerging Leader category. Yong In Chong, Head of E-Commerce at Fiserv in Seoul. Dr. Susan Graham, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Dendra Systems in London. Dr. Samuel Wills, External Research Associate at the University of Sydney and economist at Rocus Capital Management in London. And Dr. Pitchamon Yalpatong, Australian Research Council Fellow and Senior Lecturer at the University of New South Wales Australian Defence Force Academy. To present the Emerging Leader category tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Peter Verwer, Australian Prime Minister's Special Envoy for Global Business and Talent Attraction, and also a very deserving recipient of an Order of Australia. Welcome.
It's my great pleasure to introduce the Advance Emerging Leaders Award. This award recognises the next generation of Australian innovation, creativity, collaboration, and thought leadership. These individuals have the tenacity and talent to showcase Australian ingenuity. On a COVID-19 disrupted world, this exciting new generation of thinkers are forging new tools for new problems and applying fresh ways of thinking to both the challenges and opportunities that we face as a society. And now it's my pleasure to announce the winner of the Advance Emerging Leaders Award, Dr. Susan Graham, CEO and co-founder of Dendra Systems, based in the United Kingdom. Congratulations, Susan.
Meet Dr. Susan Graham, winner of the Advance Emerging Leader Award in 2020. As the CEO of Dendra Systems, a data analytics company that uses AI and drone technology to restore natural ecosystems, Dr. Graham leads a team of ecologists, engineers and computer scientists to assess ecosystems and execute customised restoration plans to support plant, animal and microbial life. Dr. Graham has a deep understanding of the biodiversity that makes up complex ecosystems. She partners with leading Fortune 500 companies and the world's top regulated resources authorities to comprehensively restore the land they manage. The UK tech company aims to re-green the planet using the speed and accuracy of technology to enable governments to restore forests 150 times faster than planting by hand, at less than 10 times the cost. Dendra plans to plant 500 billion trees by 2060 using AI and drones. Dr. Graham graduated from the University of Oxford with a Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Engineering in 2015. Her work was spun out into Oxonics, a successfully funded drug delivery company based in Oxford. For her work across research, startups and inspiring young women in tech, Susan was named on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list and was also the winner of the New York Venture Summit Pitch Competition in 2017.
What an honour. Firstly, I want to say thank you. Thank you to the Advance community, to my team, and to those who nominated me. Everything that I do is from a passion to have a positive impact in this world, and from a belief that we as Australians and global citizens can do anything that we set our minds to. Today, we're living in a time where the world is out of balance. We have a mass loss of biodiversity. We've got carbon dioxide increasing in our atmosphere, and there's 2 billion hectares of degraded land out there. There's a global challenge, and here as Australians, the land and our ecosystems are so important to us for our culture, for our community, tourism, livelihoods. And I want to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, where I'm standing here today. My company, Dendra Systems, is using all our knowledge in ecology, AI, and drones to restore our natural ecosystems, to reverse these trends. And we're continuing to grow here in Australia and hiring lots of talent here in Australia at the moment. And what a great platform we have as Australians to lead on such important global issues. We just need to be brave enough to take the lead and take on these challenges. So again, thank you so much to the Advance community for elevating our platform and for supporting us. Thank you so much.
Our next category of awards tonight is acknowledging leaders in our region, the Asia Impact Award. It's interesting in the context of the pandemic, Microsoft and IDC released a report recently saying that 41% of organisations surveyed in Asia Pacific saw the pandemic as an opportunity to innovate their business model. I think our leaders in this category are phenomenal examples of just those sorts of innovators. Allow me to introduce you to Thomas Koh, the Chief Technology Officer of BioLinguis in Beijing. Kat Thao Nguyen, founder and CEO of Global Fund in Ho Chi Minh City. Dr. Rosia Chu, Professor, Department of Clinical Pathology and Assistant Dean of Research at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And to present this award, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Doug Ferguson, the partner in charge of Asia and International Markets and the New South Wales Chairman for KPMG. Welcome, Doug.
Thanks a lot, Holly, and good evening, everyone. One of Advance's pinnacle awards, the Asia Impact Award, recognises a global Australian who's making an outstanding contribution in the world's most populous region. KPMG, a proud and long-term supporter of Advance, is delighted to sponsor the 2020 Asia Impact Award category. As a leading professional services firm with a network of offices across the region, KPMG congratulates all finalists in this award category. You are a source of great inspiration and you're so important for increasing connectivity between Australia and the region that we live in. Our 2020 Advance Award for Asia Impact goes to Dr. Rosa Chiu, Professor at the Department of Chemical Pathology and Associate Dean for Development at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Congratulations, Dr. Chiu.
Meet Dr. Rosa Chiu, winner of the Advance Asia Impact Award in 2020. Dr. Rosa Chiu is a professor in the Department of Chemical Pathology and Associate Dean for Development at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Determined to tackle the cancer epidemic, she and her colleagues have been developing blood tests with the goal to identify cancers early, thereby reducing cancer-related deaths. Rosa emphasises the importance of focusing on better diagnostics. At any one time, among every 1,000 individuals, there are 2 people with known cancer, and only 50% of cancer patients survive beyond 10 years. In her work, Rosa develops DNA tests to solve diagnostic challenges. Her groundbreaking research has previously developed non-invasive tests to identify fetal diseases by analysing small amounts of babies' DNA in mothers' blood samples. Since 2011, this has led to worldwide changes in prenatal testing practices. Dr. Rosa Chiu was named among the top 20 translational researchers of 2018 by the world-renowned scientific journal Nature Biotechnology. Rosa has won numerous international awards for her research and holds over 485 patents.
Architecture, skincare and cosmetics, hospitality, fashion and jewelry designs. What do all these industries have in common? Well, having grown up in Australia, but developed my career abroad, those are the industries that I have learned to appreciate where there is an Australian formula resulting in a unique edge where the wider global community has come to appreciate. Personally, I believe part of that secret formula for success includes taking the wealth of natural resources available, adding bountiful amounts of human creativity, resulting in much value adding, and hence the unique edge. What do all these have to do with me, myself, being a medical doctor, researching into DNA diagnostics? I believe it is the creativity, which I have learned to acquire during my studies in Australia. I went to a state school. Homework and assignments allow students to explore their genuine interests within the realms of the themes of the subjects, even the traditional subjects such as English, mathematics, modern history. I truly believe that those experiences became the formative foundation to my philosophy and attitude that encouraged me to think out of the box and dared to tackle challenging questions in the diagnostic field. So today, I'm humbled and grateful to become part of the Advance community. I would like to thank my husband, my daughters, my parents, my sister, my many family members down under, and my friends and collaborators who have kept me informed of the developments in the profession and the research field locally all these years. While we may be physically distant in different corners of the world right now, experiencing different extent of lockdown, we are actually deeply connected in our thoughts and philosophy. Thank you.
Congratulations, what an amazing award winner. Just phenomenally life-altering contributions. Well done, Dr. Chu. Well, we are now getting to the penultimate category of the evening, and this is a very special award. It must have also been an incredibly difficult one for our Advance Awards judges to adjudicate. This is the Global Impact Award, and so it's looking for the changemaker who's impacted the lives of millions. This is a category drawn from across the 37 finalists who we've recognised tonight. To present the Global Impact Award, it's an honour to welcome Mike Cannon-Brookes, the co-founder of Atlassian. Mike and his fellow co-founder Scott Farquhar were actually awarded this prize in 2015 and have sponsored the award for the last few years. Welcome, Mike.
One of Advance's pinnacle awards, the Global Impact Award, recognises those outstanding Australians who are pioneers in their field, whose sustained commitment enables them to deliver exceptional outcomes that have a true global impact. Our 2020 Advance Award for Global Impact goes to Professor Dr. John McHutchison, AO, the CEO and President of Assembly Bio in San Francisco, California.
Meet Professor Dr. John G. McHutchison, AO, winner of the Advance Global Impact Award 2020. Dr. McHutchison has played a central and critical role in developing the curative treatments for hepatitis C virus, HCV. To develop this treatment is a remarkable accomplishment destined to improve the health of many millions of people. Leading the field with a commitment across all incremental and seminal stages of discovery, John's intellectual and clinical research talents saw him develop antiviral drug combinations, as well as the more broad-spectrum anti-HCV drug that collectively cures nearly every patient infected with HCV. This represents a 30-year personal investment in understanding the disease. Dr. McHutchison joined Assembly Bio as Chief Executive Officer and President in 2019 and was also appointed as a Director. Assembly Bio is a clinical stage, publicly traded biopharmaceutical company focused on oral therapeutics to cure hepatitis B infection. He most recently served as Chief Scientific Officer and Head of R&D at Gilead Sciences. During his 9 years at Gilead, he led the organisation in the successful filing of numerous new drug applications and supplemental label updates across multiple therapeutic areas. He's a member of the Royal Australasian College of Physicians, and in 2018 he was appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia. Dr. McHutchison has now turned his sights to curing HBV infection, of which there are 250 million infected people worldwide.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's a great honour. My family and I, it's a great privilege and an honour, so thank you all. Look, how do I start, really? I've spent 30 years in this country after I left the shores of Australia. For 2 years, I never went back home. And I've always said I've had a hobby, not a job, really. I've loved what I've done. I've been devoted to this disease and trying to understand it and trying to cure it ever since it was discovered in the late 1980s. So here we are now. The last decade's been spent with me being fortunate enough to lead the development of these drug regimens that pretty much cure everybody in the world with hepatitis C. You take a pill once a day for 8 or 12 weeks, and pretty much everybody is cured without side effects. So There's about 70 million people in the world infected with hepatitis C. We've cured about 2 million. So we only have about 68 million to go. So a lot of work to be done. But it has been an extraordinary scientific experience to have, to be involved in something that affects so many people, really 1% of the world's population in certain countries. Australia's been an integral part of this. I've worked with a lot of Australian experts on hepatitis C in a variety of different ways. Australia has led the field in terms of our ability to eliminate and control the disease. The WHO has these goals to eliminate or control hepatitis C worldwide by 2030 with certain particular goals, and Australia's really done an extraordinary job. And that's because everybody's worked together as a community. These sort of advances in science are not made by one individual, they're made by communities and teams of individuals. And Australia's ability to work with the pharmaceutical industry to secure drugs at reasonable costs, to make them broadly available through the national healthcare system, and then to really scale up what we call implementation research. The drugs are available, now we have to get them to the people who need them to prevent the infection from spreading further. And I strongly believe Australia will be able to do that, and it's an honour to be part of that, and I wish you all very good luck there, and I'll be keeping an eye on you from over here as well. So thanks very much for this great honour, and I can't say much else, but thank you.
Well, huge congratulations to Dr. John G. McHutchinson. It's such an honour to have you here with us tonight, and what wonderfully deserving recognition for the incredible work that you do. We've got one special category to acknowledge an award before we move to our final award of the night, which will be the Global Australian for 2020. And this is the Global Icon Award. This is recognition of a talented individual of diverse achievement who has forged new ways and given us an opportunity to understand ourselves and the world around us from a different perspective. The winner of this award serves as an ambassador for every attribute that we are proud to call Australian. And importantly, it's worth saying that this has only been previously awarded twice, once to Greg Norman and once to Baz Luhrmann. Now, we recognise we needed an icon of all icons to be able to present this category, the icon category itself. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Ita Buttrose, the chairman of the ABC, to do exactly that. Welcome, Ita.
One of Advance's pinnacle awards, the Advance Global Icon Award, recognises outstanding global Australians with immense talent who represent Australia on the world stage to diverse audiences. The winner of this year's Icon Award has long made her home in America, but in a recent interview confessed there was much she missed about Australia. Gum leaves, pink meringues, the long shadows, the Australian accent, pelicans, sausage rolls, welcome to country, the roots of a Moreton Bay fig, the smell of the underground station at Wynyard in Sydney, a Hills hoist, bruised frangipani blossoms, a violet crumble, the ferry called Friendship, a whole box of mangoes, her family, the sea, the sky, the land, the air. All of us here in Australia understand her yearnings only too well. Tonight's icon recipient left Australia 20 years ago in search of adventure and found success and a glittering career. Our 2020 Advanced Global Icon Award goes to Sophie Blackhall, illustrator, artist and designer based in New York, USA.
Meet Sophie Blackhall, winner of the Advance Global Icon Award. An Australian icon in the world of children's books, Sophie Blackhall sparks the imagination of kids and adults alike. With strong messages of kindness, diversity and action, Sophie, along with some of her characters, traversed from the world of fiction into the world of social impact when she became an ambassador for the Measles and Rubella Initiative. Aimed at eradicating measles through vaccination, Sophie used her storytelling powers for impact in partnership with UNICEF, the American Red Cross, WHO, CDC, and the UN Foundation. Sophie has also worked with Save the Children, promoting children's literacy in Rwanda and Bhutan. In 2014, Blackall was one of 40 artists to contribute to the Art of Saving a Life, a Gates Foundation project, celebrating 40 years of global immunisation achievements. Sophie Blackall is a multi-award-winning Australian artist who has illustrated over 40 books for children and was the first Australian to win the prestigious 2016 Caldecott Medal. Sophie won it again in 2019 for the book Hello Lighthouse, which has also been shortlisted for a 2020 Australian Children's Book Award. Sophie's work has been widely celebrated in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, National Public Radio, Huffington Post and MoMA, where her work is sold. Her Ivy and Beans series has also been on the New York Times bestseller list and has sold over 5 million copies.
Thank you, Ita Buttrose and Advance, for this incredible and more than a little difficult to believe honour. If I was in Sydney, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Gadigal people of Eora Nation. But as I am in Brooklyn, New York, I would like to recognise the Kanazi tribe of Lenape of Delaware Nation. I can't stop asking myself what on earth a girl from Wollonga, South Australia, is doing before you all, a girl who spent her childhood up a gum tree with a book or drawing pictures on the beach in the sand with a stick. A girl whose biggest dream was to tell stories. The only thing I can come up with is this. We Australians are imbued with humility, a product, I think, of our history, the size of our population and our geographical location in the world. And with that humility comes a certain fearlessness. It's almost as though we don't expect people to take notice of us in the rest of the world, so we have nothing to lose. We can get away with things. We can be bold and experimental and creative, as we have seen with all of tonight's finalists for the Advance Awards. As someone who makes books for children, I have found myself in some extraordinary situations. I have no idea, for instance, how I, this bumbling Gumtree residing girl, found myself at the Centre for Disease Control in front of hundreds of the world's most esteemed epidemiologists, or how I ended up at a dinner in Berlin at the G7 summit, seated between President Kikwete of Tanzania and President Keita of Mali, and across from Bill Gates and Angela Merkel, or how I found myself in a boardroom at the United Nations just days before COVID-19 shut down New York City. I only know what I did in those moments. I told stories, and I asked people to tell me their stories in return, because telling stories is how we survive. It's the stories that we leave behind. It's through stories that we connect and understand one another. And now more than ever, the world over, people are sharing their stories and their experiences in podcasts and on Twitter. In the throes of the epidemic in the 1300s, Boccaccio wrote the Decameron, which is 100 stories told by a pod of people in a lockdown. And in the Odyssey, Homer makes the case that the gods devised the devastation of the Trojan War to make a song for those in times to come. And for First Nations people, creation stories of spirit and country exist in the past, the present, and the future. The preservation of these oral traditions, the sharing of these stories is the key to knowledge and understanding, which leads to empathy and engagement. If we listen to someone's story, we can no longer ignore their humanity. Their stories become our stories. When we learn the details of another's experiences, we can more fully appreciate the need for social justice and equality. And if we ever become consumed with our own stories, we can step back and think of our planet rotating and revolving in space, our planet which holds everyone we know and everyone we've never met, and all our food and all our water and all the art and books and music and every ant and every sneeze and every comma and every atom of every living and non-living thing. And what will we leave behind after our brief time here? Our stories. Thank you, Advance, for encouraging and gathering our stories and for giving me the opportunity to tell mine. It is an honor that I will be grateful for the rest of my life.
Well, for the main event, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to announce our Global Australian of 2020, our patron of Advance, the Honourable Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison.
Well, g'day everyone. It's great to join you for the 2020 Advance Awards. I'm up here in Townsville in North Queensland. Like so much else, your award ceremony does look different this year. You can't gather in one place, you're dispersed, yet you're connected by common aspirations and achievements, which is what Advance is all about. So it's terrific we can take a moment tonight to celebrate some of our remarkable expats who are making a vital contribution in so many places around the world. I want to thank Ken Allen and Marie McNamara, the Advance Board and this year's judging panel for the tremendous job you are doing to connect our diaspora, our Aussie diaspora, and recognising their achievements. Our expats have accumulated skills, talents, networks and new insights, but this year, facing an uncertain global pandemic, many have come back home. Many of those who returned are still continuing in their roles, battling time zones and leading from here in Australia. This is the Australian brain gain. My message is simple. We want you to stay and take advantage of the opportunities that will be created as we work our way back. And we want those outstanding people you work with to come here and join you also. To make this happen, this year we recently established the Global Business and Talent Attraction Task Force. I actually call it Project Moneyball. It's being headed up by Peter Verwa, who is my special envoy for global business and talent attraction. Attracting talent and global businesses to Australia is part of our JobMaker plan, which is our plan for the recovery from the global COVID-19 recession. Australia is a very stable and attractive destination, as you know, and I want to get more of the region's export businesses to relocate just here. Advance do a tremendous job connecting Australians overseas, and I now have the honour of announcing the winner of this year's Advance Global Australian Award. For the first time, the Advance Global Australian Award goes to two Australians, Tim Kentley-Clay and Dr. Abigail Allwood. Tim, a co-founder of Zoox, an autonomous car company that has been sold to Amazon. And Abigail is a world-leading geologist, astrobiologist and research scientist, and has been making a mighty contribution to NASA's Mars Rover 2020 expedition. Congratulations, Abigail and Tim. And to all this year's finalists. Australia is tremendously proud of you all. But again, thank you and congratulations to Advance. I hope you enjoy the evening and I'm pleased that I've been able to join you.
Prime Minister Morrison, Chairman Yasmin Allen, the board and judging panel of Advance. On behalf of Abigail, I want to thank you for her selection as the Global Australian Award winner in 2020. The list of finalists demonstrates the depth and breadth of talent that Australia has produced. Had she been able to join us here tonight, Abigail would be celebrating the collaboration between Australia and the United States in space. She would celebrate her remarkable colleagues at NASA, and she would thank her family for their support. So I do so as the Ambassador Emeritus of Advance in the United States on her behalf. We all send our best wishes to Abigail and her family.
Wow, this is genuinely unexpected and very humbling. I'd like to thank the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, for presenting this award. I'd like to thank everyone at the award organisation for bringing attention to the people that are out there pursuing their passions and trying to make a difference. I've long believed that imagination is the origin of value, because it can see not what is, but what is to be. And I'm humbled to be amongst an amazing group of people that are realizing their visions for what should be. I'd like to congratulate Abigail as she searches for life north of the Kármán line. She might want to try Venus. I'd like to thank all the creative and technical teams that have worked with me over the years. I'd like to thank my family, my long-suffering mother, and dedicate this award to my awesome father. Thank you so much for this recognition. It's important that the people who are really out there making change get recognized. That's not me, but it's many that have been recognized tonight. So let's take that spirit forward and continue to party. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Prime Minister, and a huge congratulations to our overall winners, Abigail Allwood and Tim Kentley-Clay. What phenomenal, phenomenal recipients we have for our 2020 Advance Overall Award. I would now like to introduce you to the CEO of Advance, Maria McNamara, the masterful creator of tonight's whole production and the phenomenal powerhouse engine that sits behind all of Advance activities year-round. Would not have been possible without the tireless work of Maria and the team. And to close this evening's proceedings, I hand over to Maria.
Good evening, Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Senator Jane Hume, Ambassador Arthur Sinodinos, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. What a celebration. I want to think that the trajectory of hope for 2020 has changed because of the Advance Awards. We've been introduced to Australians with a fire in their belly, a twinkle in their eye, and a determination to solve problems and create opportunities from which generations of Australians can draw inspiration. And they're only the presenters. Thanks to Zoe Daniel, Robbie Stanton, Carol Schwartz, Melanie Brock, Jane Hume, Greg McRae, Robin Denham, Peter Verwer, Mike Cannon-Brooks, Doug Ferguson, and our very own Ita Buttrose. Thanks also to the Prime Minister for joining us this evening. I offer my heartfelt congratulations to the winners, the artists, storytellers, the innovators, entrepreneurs, financiers, the scientists, and the doctors, for it is they who've brought light into the world tonight. In 12 months' time, our goal is to ensure that every Australian, and especially every Australian child, both onshore and offshore, knows the story of Pramesh Chandran, Christopher Doyle, Jennifer Nason, Jill Banfield, Nicholas Wyman, Bart Kolodjacek, Sophie Blackall, Rosa Chu, Susan Graham, John McHutchison, Tim Kentley-Clay, and the remarkable Abigail Allwood. I also want everyone to be inspired by each of the finalists and former winners and be encouraged to follow in their footsteps and do their best work here in Australia and around the world. To imagine, explore and collaborate with peers, to have investments made in their companies, to scale those companies and when the price is right to sell them, to continue to innovate so that we can solve the most wicked problems facing our world and draw on the joy and opportunity from their fresh thinking. The Advance Awards are about the stories of Australians who are doing remarkable work on the global stage. These awards are made possible because of the generous people with whom I have the privilege to work each day. I'd like to take a moment to recognise them tonight. To the board, partners and supporters of Advance, it is your commitment to the mission of this wonderful organisation that aims to connect global Australians with one another and with Australia that makes a night like this possible. My thanks to Secretary Francis Adamson and Secretary David Fredericks and their teams who continue to support this important work. To the generous and visionary Anthony Pratt and to the co-founders of Atlassian, who sponsored the Global Impact Award tonight. Our thanks also to KPMG, Wilson Asset Management, the MAP Group, AsiaLink Business, and With You With Me for their financial support. Thank you to our bronze sponsors and to the generosity of our many supporters. You know how much I value the encouragement and support you provide. Thank you to the members of the expert panel to whom we turned with a request to bring their insights and expertise to the evaluation of the nominations, and to the distinguished members of our judging panel led by Advanced Chair Emeritus Ken Allen. They are Carla Zampatti, Gillian Broadbent, Andrew Liveris, Bob Isherwood, Sir Michael Hincy, Alexi Glass-Cantor, Michelle Garneau, and Darren Burns. Thank you to those who recorded messages of support, including Australia's 29th Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, and to my dedicated team, the Awesome 4.4. My thanks to Johanna Pittman, who uncovered the nominees and diligently guided their applications through evaluation, judging and due diligence. And to Michael, Sarah, Maddie and Robert for ensuring the website and socials worked. To Ivany and the DraftWorks team for making it possible to deliver the program online so seamlessly. And to the extraordinary attention to detail and finalist engagement by Mandy Garnett. Thank you also for the beautiful music by Gondwana Choirs, led by Lynn Williams, and for the inspiring storytelling by Angela Caterns and our very own Nikki May. And I think we'll all agree that tonight's program was hosted by the incomparable Holly Ransom in a way that we'll never forget. Finally, my thanks to you, each and every one of you who tuned into this broadcast. This work is for you, to inspire and to encourage you to fulfill your ambitions and make your mark. And with that, I welcome Gondwana Choirs to perform the farewell this evening.
Woo!